What it is? How's it going, everybody? Today we're gonna be reviewing the old school classic from Gary Marshall, Mother's Day, in honor of Mother's Day. We're gonna talk about all the things from moms doing their thing, taking care of the kids, having fun parties, having hearts to hearts with clowns, all that good stuff. So if you want to hear what we have to say, sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die.
Hey everyone, welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. My name is Jonathan. We hope you're having a great day today. Oh, Jerome is apparently injuring himself. I'm here with Alex
I just bumped my light, and so I was just like, oh no, it moved.
Oh. Jerome, how are you doing other than the light issues?
I'm good, chilling. It's been pretty okay week. I haven't done anything special, so there you go. But I am excited about for those listening, of course, and who have been listening for a long time. I'm a huge D&D fan. Dimension 20 just started a new season, which is Dropout's D&D show. This time it's a prequel to A Crown of Candy, which was their season in which they mashed up Game of Thrones with Candyland. So this is the prequel called The Ravening War that is the setup for that world of a war that happened in the lore of that world and stuff like that. So I'm excited to watch that. It started on Thursday, or this past Thursday. Matt Mercer's DMing, who's a great voice actor and is normally the DM for Critical Role. So it's kind of cool to see him in a different space. I mean, he's already worked with Dimension 20 before on another campaign they did. But as a player, so having him as a DM in this campaign is really cool. Especially because Matt Mercer and Brennan Lee Mulligan are the DMs I look up to. One day I hope to be to their status and DM the way they do with how good they are at it, because they are excellent at being dungeon masters. Also, Abria Iyengar, who sometimes DMs as well. She's great too. One day, we'll get there.
Alex, how was your week? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was sweating today. I helped my sister in the yard because she hurt herself, ironically, working in her yard. One of the holes the dogs had dug, but we filled that up, so that was nice. But I've just been really sweating, avoiding putting up my air conditioner because I'm one of those people that try to keep the windows open as long as I can. But
listen, saves on the power bill. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but I lost the battle. I absolutely lost the battle. Now I'm a little chilly, but it's been a decent week for me. I haven't done too much, so just relatively chill. I can't even think of I don't think I've even watched any new shows or movies or anything. I'm still watching Grimm, which I really like. I haven't seen Your Dead Body yet, or at least I don't think I have, but I'm keeping an eye out.
I don't think you will, honestly, because I don't think I could even find you.
I found you on that bus in the castle show.
The Man in the High Castle.
I found you on that bus. I knew the back of your head, literally. I knew the back of your head. So I might, but yeah, I'm just kind of watching Grimm right now, and it is. I regret not watching it earlier. It is such a good show, and it's so interesting the way because it's Grimm Tales, they use actual Norwegian names or German names for the different supernatural creatures, such as werewolves or things like that. They'll use these really German or I don't even know what it is. What are Grimms? Are they Polish? Are they German?
I want to say Polish.
I actually don't know. It all sounds sounds kind of the same to me.
A German collection of fairy tales by the Grimm brothers.
Okay, then they use a lot of German on there. But it's still a good show, and yeah, I wish I had watched it sooner. And I rewatched a little bit of Abbott Elementary because I was trying to get another friend into watching it. So I was rewatching that a little bit, but getting more comfortable for the writer's strike, depending on how long it's gonna go.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm like trying to brush up on these old shows and being like, yeah, let's settle in, getting comfy. But how was your week, Jonathan?
Good. It felt long, but happy that the weekend is upon us. I heard reality competition TV news, that Survivor and Amazing Race this fall will all have 90-minute episodes. Gonna see more reality TV pop up. This is probably the first iteration of that. So, sad for the writers, but I'm curious to see where this reality TV ness of it all goes.
Some of the reality shows are good. I think the ones that have like real competition. And I was upset because there was one, I was telling Lauren about it recently. Oh, I went on a hike with Lauren. I almost died. I was not prepared for a real hike. Like I had to stop and I was wheezing. I didn't bring my inhaler. It was it was terrible, but at the same time, gorgeous. Where we went, it was St. Edward's in Kenmore. It was absolutely stunning, beautiful. I just wish I had been properly prepared, but like absolutely loved it. Anyway, I was telling her about the show, The Hustler, with Craig Ferguson, and it was like they were trying to figure out, who's the hustler, who's trying to take all the money, basically.
And they
canceled
it's such a good
show. So for like reality shows like that, I would be excited for more of, and like game shows, but like going back to the trashy dating shows, like Flavor.
See, that's
of
what
Love,
I mean. Like that's why I'm not excited for, because it's like you're gonna run
Yeah,
out of
or Charm School is like I don't want that type of reality back.
Yeah, because you don't see. I feel like that's not the type of reality TV I'm interested in either. Because
listen, Love and Hip Hop is still going. Basketball Wives is still going.
But who's really talking about it? They're
black people. That's who.
Not this black person, because the reality TV that I'm talking about is like you have the competition reality shows. You have the Love is Blind. If we want to go into dating reality shows, you have the Love is Blind, which is serving up. It actually serves up love and drama, and then you have. And if you want to get a little bit messier, you go to Netflix with Perfect Match. Well, Love is Blind is on Netflix too, but you get the point. And then you have like The Circle. You have The Mole, and those are all on Netflix. And then
Sexy Beasts, the best reality TV show.
Yeah, Sexy
of all
Beasts
time.
as well. And then if you want to go to Peacock, you got Love Island now. Love Island used to be on CBS, but now it's on Peacock. You also have The Traitors, which famously Lauren and Kaylee got into, and they very much enjoyed it. On HBO Max, you got F-Boy Island, and there's plenty of others.
I watched F-Boy Island. That is a show waiting for an STD breakout to happen. All right.
Probably.
That's all I'm going to say about that show. But
have any of y'all heard Soup Troop?
I'm scared to know what that is.
It's like deep. It's like deep in Netflix. Soup Troop. It only lasted like a season.
What is it about?
It's about.
Okay, I'm gonna look up the synopsis right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Look up the synopsis. It's Soup Troop.
Soup Troop?
Yes.
Like TROUP?
TROOP.
Okay, nothing's coming up when I'm typing that in Netflix. Nothing. I don't see Soup Troop at all.
It down.
I know. I can't keep. It doesn't exist. I was just trying to see if I can get you to look it up. I made it up. Soup Troop isn't a thing.
Actually, Paka.
It is not April Fool's. You are late.
That's why I started laughing when you were like, "What's the synopsis?" I'm like, "God damn it! I didn't have to think. I didn't think that far ahead."
Actually, there is Funko Paka Soup Troop vinyl figures. Technically, Soup Troop is a thing, just not a show. I got worried for a second. I'm like,
why does that sound like it would be a real thing, though?
You know what I mean?
It would. It absolutely, I believed it. That's why I'm scared. I don't want VH1 era reality shows to come back. That's where
like
my
Soup Troop
lies.
That's gonna be the worst, number one show.
I mean,
Because
if they
if
travel
we were
around
talking,
the world trying different soups, I would definitely.
Yeah, you know, or maybe they like are it's obstacle course, but like the punishment if you fail is you have to dive into a pool of soup or something.
I've actively said I want to be made into soup.
So I was thinking you meant soup like superhero, you know, like. So I thought that was the reality show, like soup.
Yeah, it's
troop,
live.
people who are
It's
training to be
superheroes.
superheroes or something.
I like how you focused on the word soup, and I focused on the word troop. Like
Soup Troop.
Like
make the poster, audience. Go ahead and make a fan poster of Soup Troop. What does Soup Troop look like?
But like, I have to admit it actively that I want to like lay in a hot tub and just have like be swimming in like carrots and broth, like made into a little soup, like Bugs Bunny style. I would love to have that. I feel like it would be so relaxing one day.
You would be so sticky, like just sticking to everything.
I'm soup. Not that sticky. How was the rest of your week before we went into that?
Anyway, today we are talking about Mother's Day,
which is just passed actually at the time of this episode coming out. But it's never too late to still celebrate your mothers. All right, everybody know that.
And of course, we are talking about the 2016 film Mother's Day. About 3 generations who come together in the week leading up to Mother's Day.
I love that that's the IMDb synopsis, but that does not tell you anything about what the hell this movie's about.
This follows the same ensemble cast format as New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day because, of course, they were both directed by Gary Marshall. Stars Jennifer Aniston, Kate Hudson, Julia Roberts, Jason Sudeikis, Timothy Olyphant, Shay Mitchell, and more people who
and others. Britt Robertson.
I don't recognize. Yeah, Britt Robertson. Jennifer Garner makes a brief cameo.
Very brief cameo.
Jack Whitehall was in this. I don't think I paid attention.
Jack, that's right. Jack Whitehall. When he came up, I was like, "Oh, Alex, it's your boy, Jack Whitehall."
I did not see him at all.
He's one of the main characters.
He was a main character,
right? What do you mean didn't see him at all? He's like all over.
Look,
the movie.
Sometimes I get like face blindness or something. I don't register it, or I'm not paying too much attention. The movie was weird. All right, like
it was.
First standing on it, it was like weird, and I had a hard time paying attention, and a lot of it just felt like. Well, I'll tell you, dramatic. Y'all need therapy.
I'll tell you why it's weird when I get to my thoughts. But go ahead, Alex. Go ahead, start with your general thoughts about Mother's Day.
And then we'll get into spoilers later on. Even though I don't know who's.
No. Actually, no. I just remembered. This is a retro review. No, we're just diving on in. We're just diving on in. Listen, if you haven't seen Mother's Day by now, you ain't gonna watch it. Okay, so let's be real with it.
It's a weird movie, and like I one of the things I do like or like but don't like is how they're like all unseemingly connected somehow. Like it's at the end where you're like, everybody's related to everybody, what a shocker. And it's like, I hate that, but I kind of like that movie has that his movies have that theme of,
you know, what amazed me
connected.
Is that this movie has less characters than Valentine's Day, or at least seemingly has less characters than like Valentine's Day and probably New Year's Eve too, even though we haven't reviewed that one. And yet it still feels just as unimportant as Valentine's Day does. You have less characters and more time to flesh out more characters, and it still feels like I do not give a shit about any of these people.
I will say nothing led me to a panic attack. There wasn't a multitude of introduction of characters.
I mean, that's true. They focused it down a lot, but it still has the worst editing. These movies have the worst editing. Easily the worst editing I've ever seen. A prime example is the third act of this movie. When it's Mother's Day, Jennifer Aniston's kids come up, and they're like, "Happy Mother's Day." They give her the present. They have the potato man bit. And then they're like, oh, like she's like, oh yeah, it's a great Potato Man. He's like, oh, that's actually for stepmom. Here's your Potato Man. Do you want, and it has the drama, and she's like, come in, and they're like, well, and they're gonna have a heart to heart about her being like, no, sometimes it's important for adults to share certain things, just like you guys, share your toys or whatever. She's like, get in the bed. But she says, get in the bed. Then it cuts to Jason Sudeikis and his daughters are missing. And it's like, oh man, this is super dramatic. Then it cuts back and the kids are in the bed now. And they have this heart to heart. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why did you cut away? You could have kept the scene solid in and of itself. We're just going to come right back here. And it does that throughout the movie where I'm like, what is with the editing in this film? It's like you want people to remember your other characters, but you like cut in the middle of moments to show other moments with characters only to cut back to what's happening seconds after the last time we saw this character. It's weird. It's a weird way to cut this movie together.
So and I'm not even usually the type of person who will critique the writing. Like sometimes I'll be like, like when people say, oh, the writing wasn't great. Like I'll be like, you might be being a little bit nitpicky. But the writing in this movie was trash. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah. We finally got Jonathan to say something negative. Yes.
It was like if you have
it was bad.
Jack
it was
Whitehall.
Bad.
You have Jack Whitehall. You have Jack Whitehall when they're sitting in bed. He's like, I love you so much, and I want you to marry me. And homegirl's just sitting there like.
To be fair, that's Britt Robertson's acting doing that. I don't know if you can blame the writing on that one.
But the way he was saying it, I mean, not the way he was saying it, but the way his words.
I get what you mean.
Saying it,
it's very awkward.
Like,
his delivery is bad.
Yes, no one would say like, I want to get married. Look, we've been married for 3 years, 8 days, and 6 months. So we need to get married right now. Like, you wouldn't put it out there all like that. And when we got introduced to Jason Sudeikis and his daughters, and how they lost their mom, and they're sitting there. Wow, can you believe it's been a year since we lost mom? This is her first Mother's Day without her. You don't say that when you go, like, you just
especially like, I laughed so hard.
Don't tell.
Because I was like, even Disney has left this trope behind when they're like, yeah, maybe don't be late to soccer practice, Dad. Mom was never late to soccer practice. I'm like, not even Disney does this anymore. Are you kidding me? This is 2016. Oh, that trope is old by that point. Are you kidding? Really?
And what really got me, and I'm still on the writing. I still have two other reasons why this movie was trash. Also, the scene where we get introduced to the parents of Kate Hudson's character.
Oh, yeah.
And it offended me. I'm like, when they were saying the statements like, I forget even what the mom was saying, but it was presented in a way that felt like it was supposed to be comedic, but it didn't quite feel comedic enough. It just felt like offensive to the audience. And when a comedic joke that's meant that like a racially based joke or something along those lines, when you're targeting, a group of people, they need to hit. If they fall flat, it just feels like you're making like a slur or you're just saying something hateful.
Yeah.
And those jokes didn't land for me, so they just felt hateful. So writing aside, also,
sorry. One last thing about the writing too. Did anyone realize that this movie starts with narration but doesn't end with it? The narration comes in at the very beginning from Kate Hudson's mom, Flo, and never comes back again after that. It's just, for some reason, the movie just starts with narration. I was ready. I was prepared for it to come back. At least Valentine's Day had the gumption to have them start with narration end with narration. This movie was just like, I don't know, I guess. Like, I don't know how to start this movie. You know what? Screw it.
About it. They forgot about it in the middle.
They definitely did.
I didn't think about that at all. I was like, oh, everything's, like settled. So it's like all done.
Also, this was Gary Marshall's last film, and I hate that it ended his film career ended with such a on a low. But he did great things in his career. Like he did Pretty Woman. Like you can't take that away from him.
Oh, absolutely not.
You can when you have Julia Roberts looking like this. He undid everything in Pretty Woman. Go on with the things you hate. I have plenty.
Okay. The other thing was, why did this movie need to be 2 hours? It could have been an hour and a half tops.
Oh my God, yes.
We had less cast, so we should have had less runtime. That was point number 2. Point number 3. These folks are in Atlanta. Why is it all white people?
For real?
We are in Atlanta.
For real?
It's in Atlanta.
There's the only black person is Lonnie Love. She's the only one. And that one comedian lady. That one comedian woman and Lonnie Love. They're the two black people that exist in Atlanta.
And the husband of Kate Hudson.
He don't count. He's Indian. He don't count.
But he's like the butt of the racial jokes, and
I guess that's true. Yeah, these movies are too upbeat to try and have any serious topics like racism in them. It can't handle them.
Or homophobia.
Right, it can't handle them. It doesn't know what to do with those. Because that doesn't just get solved with, oh, well, that's just mom being mom. It's like, no. She would be like, I am not taking this mixed child. So it's like, and even if she does change her mind, it's not going to take one day of playing with her grandchild to be like, I've changed my ways. It's like, no.
You know what? I never liked that storyline of the homophobia and the racism where they I'm married somebody out and I just never told my parents. You all had a wedding. You all had a child that was maybe 5 years old. And did you never?
Looks like it, maybe, yeah.
I genuinely, after stopped babysitting and nannying kids, I genuinely don't know age range of children anymore.
I think they said 3.
I just say 5.
I think he said he had been married 3 years. So and they had the baby, so the baby was probably 3.
How do you go? So let's say they dated for 2 years, and then they got married, and then they had a kid another year, and then 3. So that's 8 years straight of you not knowing a single thing of your daughter's life. That she was able to get married, have a full child, go through pregnancy, and you're now just learning everything. The gay couple kind of makes sense because she adopted adopted the son. Sorry, but you went through pregnancy and didn't tell your parents anything. Why not just tell your parents? If you're they're gonna hate everything. Yeah. So eventually, when they find out, they hate it even more because you lied to them for so long.
It's a thing.
What is the storyline?
That's why I say this movie can't handle these type of things because it doesn't have the maturity to ask the questions that would be asked, that a person would ask. Because my question as her husband would be, so let's hypothetically play this out. Did you plan to lie to them forever? Because the only reason you're telling the truth now is because they surprised you and popped up on you, and then you're forced to tell the truth. You had no plans of telling them that I was your husband, that this is their grandchild. That never crossed your mind? I need to know that right now.
Yeah, and then it's what was your game plan for the future? Or what was this idea? Be I love my parents, I don't want to hurt them. Clearly you don't love them very much if they can be completely absent from your life so much that they don't know their own grandchild. And then now you're upset that they know the truth and you're oh no, what if they leave? You already, y'all already not talking. I don't know what relationship you're trying to save, but there's clearly none to save. So
and that says something to her husband that you're ashamed. You're basically ashamed of me.
You're ashamed of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're ashamed of me.
So that should say something to him about her.
Well, especially because it's the same thing with like it's a little different with the sister because it's like, you know, homophobia is still a big thing. It's like if it wasn't her parents, it might just be in general, you know, a lot of people wouldn't accept her relationship. But as her partner, I would have the same question too of like, how long do you intend to lie to your parents that you're married to some banker named Ben? Steve, right? Some dude named Steve. Like, how long was that going to last for? Like, for you to just lie to them and just say that you're married to Steve? We have a child together.
Story plots that I always hate with, like, gay movies. Like, I'm going to take you to meet my family. Oh, by the way, they don't know we're dating. They think we're roommates. And, like, the other one's ready to propose or something. Or, like, I want to marry you. But I just can't tell everybody in my life about you. And so moving forward, you're only my roommate. Be like, what is that storyline? And it needs to die. It just needs to die now.
Well, if you want to look at a movie that knows how to handle that situation maturely, look at is it The Best Holiday or whatever? The movie with Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis that just came out, the Christmas movie. I will give credit to
that one.
That movie knew how to handle that scenario maturely of like, this is how it would be. Like, it would be hard and it would have there'd be a lot of questions, but that movie takes place when they're still dating. They're not married or have kids.
Yeah. No child is involved. And I think that's where it's like pushing too far. When you literally have little ones that you've also just lied to your... What if they were cool about it? What if you're like, oh, they're going to be too racist? They actually aren't. And then now you've just like withheld the grandchild for no good reason because of what you thought of your parents. That's also like kind of a shitty thing to do. But I didn't like that storyline.
Those storylines are trash. My thing though is I'm like, why are they trying to make Jennifer Aniston look like the unreasonable one in this movie?
Because that's how a lot of ex-wives are being seen. So that one actually made sense to me. Because often it's the crazy ex-wife or the baby mama that looks insane while the guy moves on, gets a prettier wife and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, she's being unreasonable. No, she's the one actually raising these children. And she points that out when they have that little party where she's like, when's the last time you did the responsible stuff, took him to the doctors or do anything like that? You have him for 1 day a week or something. I don't actually know what the custody about. How long? Okay, so here's one thing that bothered me with this film. I couldn't grasp the timeline. How many days passed in this film?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Because they end with Mother's Day, but I can't tell straight up how many days have passed. I assume it's
been like a week or so. Like, I think it's been like a week. Because I think the idea is that they've had that this is his week with the kids. Maybe. It's unclear. It is very unclear. For sure, the timeline. Especially because, like, they make it seem like so much is happening so quick. But it's like, how quick is quick, though?
Yeah, because, like, with Britt Robertson's character, Kristen?
I think so, yeah, Kristen.
She has to find her birth mother. Then she has to, like, do all this stuff. Because there's just only a moment where her and Kate Hudson's character are talking and be like, I want to find my birth mother. Well, that takes time. Because you got to go through
Well, no, she says she already has found her. She just hasn't had the courage to, like, actually introduce herself. And, like, so she knows where she... So she knows where she is. She just hasn't had the courage to, like, actually walk up and be like, hey, I'm your daughter. But my thing is, I'm like, they make it seem like Julia Roberts' character travels a lot. So I don't feel like that's as much of a it's your fault as much as it's like, you can't just at a moment's notice get to this woman. Like, she's not just always around.
So the best thing to do is bombard her at a book signing in a very public setting.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, that whole storyline too is, I'm like, it was the best one. Me personally, I thought that was the best one that was written relatively okay. The writing, as far as the dialogue, is terrible, but the actual, like, how it progresses is cool until we get to the end when they're like, I want to marry you. Okay. And then they get married. That second, I'm like, y'all act like y'all can't just plan a wedding weeks in advance, like weeks later. Why do you need to get married right now? in this bar.
They're in love, and she has her real mom now.
My thing is, I'm like, you act like Julia Roberts can't catch a plane or a train and come to the wedding. She's clearly invited now that you've met her. Just be like, okay, cool, we're planning a wedding. Like, that's what I mean. This movie always goes to the extremes with stuff. The best scene in this movie is easily the clown scene. That is the best scene in this film. And I'm willing to bet that is not written. I am fairly certain a lot of that was improv. I mean, because I love that, because that, even the joke Jennifer Aniston tells where she's like, I just got I had a heart-to-heart with a clown. Didn't even know he was there. He could have just murdered me. I'm like, there's no way they wrote that. That's Jennifer Aniston just being funny, because she's a funny person. She has improv chops. I'm like, that's just her just telling some jokes. Because that's one of the most legitimately funny lines in the whole movie, which is sad because you have a movie with Jason Sudeikis in it and he doesn't get any of the funny lines.
Well, because he's supposed to be an ex-military man with a dead wife.
But that's the thing also, too. Go ahead, Jonathan. I'm sorry, I've talked a lot, so go ahead.
I was gonna say also, speaking of Jason Sudeikis, was this the prequel to Ted Lasso? Because Jason Sudeikis played a soccer coach in this.
I mean, I guess. If you want to connect it in some way, I guess.
He had Ted Lasso vibes in this film.
Although Lonnie Love acted too much like a white parent for me in this movie. Because any black...
How so?
Because she, not only does she take this white man's kids by herself without telling him anything. She doesn't leave a message on his phone. She don't text him. Nothing. She just takes them. I'm sure at their request, but still... And then,
look at the demographic she's living in. Look at her neighbors.
Right. In Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then secondly, granted, he doesn't tell her what happens, but I feel like Lonnie Love was at that soccer game when she sees his daughter get in this car with this boy and completely ignore her father. I feel like she would have something to say because if there's one thing I know, black mama friends of yo mama will still be they'll be like surrogate mom. They will discipline you. No, be like, I know you ain't did your daddy like that. You know better than that. You know what I mean? They would give you the full speech and everything.
That's fair. This movie was ill-paced and bad writing, and some of these plots maybe could have worked out as a movie of their own, Jason's and Jennifer's storyline where they're trying to do the cute meet in the grocery store, and
it's so bad.
It was bad. That was just bad writing and bad acting.
Well, especially because the whole movie, I was so confused. I'm like, because then, every time Jason Sudeikis sees her, he tries to avoid her. But it's also clearly he also kind of likes her at the same time. And I'm like, I'm confused. Does he like her? Because clearly you're trying to set up that they're going to be together at the end, or at least spark a relationship at the end of this movie. But you're making it seem like he doesn't like her. So does he not like her, or does he like her, but he's nervous? You're not making it clear, movie, because you're not using your words.
It was supposed to be that he's scared of starting a new relationship after his wife passed. But yeah, it made it seem like he was like, okay, you're kind of weird. I'm going to head out over here. Instead of being like, oh, I'm worried that I like you and now I'm betraying my wife style, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. The kids in this movie were cute. They were the little kids. They were adorable. And then the big kids were a little annoying, but... That's just because they had bad dialogue.
Speaking of the kids,
that's fair.
The scene, from Jump, when we have Jennifer Aniston in a towel and she just willy-nilly sitting around while her friends' kids are in the kitchen just chilling in the towel.
It's true, yeah.
That was weird.
That was weird because no mom does that. Not when it's one thing if it's your own kids, not when their friends are there.
Exactly. That was weird.
That's just weird in general. I think if you're not home alone, to do it around anybody is just a little bit weird. It's like, no, just go put on a shirt or something. What are you doing in a towel? How is this helping?
They try to normalize Timothy Olyphant's character of again, this is another movie where it's it can't handle mature situations because I don't care how friendly of a co-parenting situation you have, you ain't just gonna walk up in my house without me knowing you here, you live here, because you don't. That's what the divorce means. So you don't just get to sneak in here, feed my kids, have their friends over, all this stuff like you still live here. This is my house. You need to let me know you coming.
There was a lot of house breaking in. Like the parents, they broke into the house for the surprise visit.
No, they didn't. They let them in.
Oh, who? Wait, who?
Oh, no. They did actually sneak in.
They walked
That's
through
true.
the door. Hey.
They walked through the door. That's true. I forgot about that. I thought they let them in. I forgot. They were on Skype, but they didn't like open the door.
Right.
Which again, how the hell did they get in then?
Because these people don't be locking their doors. Right?
In Atlanta?
Clearly, this is not the same Atlanta. All right?
Right. This is the Atlanta suburbs, the deep suburbs.
This is like Southern Belles territory, where they still do like there's debutante balls or something.
Which I don't know why they said in Atlanta, because they treat the whole city like it's L.A., and it's not.
Right.
Atlanta is not L.A.
Atlanta, yeah.
Didn't Valentine's Day take place in LA?
Yeah, Valentine's Day takes place in L.A. Just to have it take place in L.A. I don't know why they specifically did Atlanta, considering nothing about Atlanta is a defining
is
feature
represented
and is represented in this movie.
And it's so weird that they chose Atlanta because like Valentine's Day was California, and it kind of made sense because it's
I think
like
New Year's
they
Eve
talk
is
about romance.
New York.
New York.
New York.
So why would they? Is Atlanta a big Mother's Day state or like city or
the
like
South is a big like does do up Mother's Day
Like,
for sure.
Family, yeah.
But I feel like that's everywhere. Like that's family dependent, especially because it's not like we see them go anywhere. They spend time with family, all of them. Like, because at first I thought we were gonna see the parade, but then they just completely forget about the parade thing. The womb thing.
Oh, I forgot about the parade.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, they set up this whole thing of like, we made this float for the parade. Then we never see the parade. The womb is just there. It's a weird,
Which
weird
also,
thing.
what the hell is that doing in a parade? For a Mother's Day parade, do you really think they want to see that?
It's gonna frighten the
Honestly,
families.
It's more like it'll
There's some
confuse the
little
families
children.
because most people were like, what is it?
And then you have
That's-
just someone come out of it dressed as a baby.
I guess. Well,
somebody-
they were gonna have their babies come out, their kids, just be like, "Hey, it's me." I can hear Cheddar rubbing up against the.
Little SMR for everybody.
It's especially because the what is it the stuff with. I just don't like how they set up Jennifer Aniston's character in this movie, because it's like the whole movie they're trying to make it seem like it's like. Man, she just needs to chill out, But it's like, no, like her ex-husband is being a little unreasonable. You just married this woman. You surprised me with just marrying this woman. And granted, she means well, clearly, from her perspective, it's just, oh man, I got a new family I'm a part of. That's her side of it. Sure. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. But that we are co-parents. Like there are some relationships of divorced parents where they don't even feel comfortable letting their kids be around their ex,
the step-parent,
new person until they meet them first. And it's like, hold on, let me meet them first. I want to get to know them so I know that they seem like a good enough person to maybe because there's gonna be a time where maybe you might need them to watch our kids by themselves. I need to know that they're prepared for that. Like from my comfort.
What is with all these like weddings just happening? Like everybody.
Yeah,
Everyone's
eloping is
eloping.
like the new name of the game in this movie, where everyone's just eloping. Nobody has marriages. Nobody has weddings.
Nobody
and
actually
if they do,
know who's their partner in this film.
and they don't introduce them to the people that they need to introduce them to.
Because the adopted one, she got married real quick, and then also, like, don't you have an adopted family? Don't you also have like friends and like all this stuff? You're just suddenly gonna be like, oh yeah, well I met my birth mom, and in that moment I was like, let's get married. That was all I needed. Like, you have friends who are trying to be supportive of you, and you just completely like sideswipe them, and then like the adopted family, I don't know if they're good to you or not, but like
the adopted family's dead now.
Oh, they're dead? When was that pointed out?
When they were talking,
I don't remember that either.
In the scene where she talks with her, Julie Roberts says that she's like, "I heard that they passed." Like, but that's the thing. That's the dialogue in this movie. Literally, things get said in like a sentence, and then they move on, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what?
They just put that there.
They just put it in.
Roberts was keeping tabs on her?
Yeah, remember, that's why she has the book of pictures. She's like, the part of the deal was they were always going to send me pictures of you so I could know how you were doing and stuff. And then the other part was for me not to contact you. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's backwards. Let me get this straight. The part of the deal is that we will send you pictures of this person every year, every birthday, Christmas, all of that. But we won't let you talk to this person.
That's like torture. Why would you know what I'm saying?
Why
this is what you could have had. This is what you could have had.
This is self-inflicted, like, madness.
Closed adoption, yeah.
That makes no sense.
It should either be all or... I mean, I don't know how, like, adoptions and stuff work.
I mean, you could set it up that way.
Yeah, you could have, like, the option... Right, you could have the option to be in contact with the child and the family.
Well, it's also weird that,
or not at all.
Julia Roberts would know that. Why wouldn't she just contact her after the family apparently is dead?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be, like, a little bit smarter to have, like, the Kristen character be like, oh, yeah, my family died. Be like, oh, that's why I haven't received any more information about you. I was wondering what happened. Not, your family was dead, then I completely just ignored you afterwards.
It's like the biggest thing for me is the whole thing. Also, the plot point of she's like, I don't want to marry, my boyfriend of 5 years because I don't and father of my child because I don't know who I am. I need to meet my mother to know, like, who I am. And I'm like, do you though? I feel like I feel like that's just. I feel like the real answer is you just don't want to marry him. Like, we had this baby together and that's cool and all, but I don't want it. Because literally the second all she has is one conversation.
You. I mean, I already have a child with you, but do I really want to commit? I mean, we own a house, we're married, we're monogamous, but, like, do I want to get into a legal contract with you that way? That's all it is for them. Is like, let's just make it a legal contract now.
Well, also, this movie makes it seem like the only way to be in, like, a truly binded relationship is to be married. And it's like, no, not really. Like, there are people who have kids together, live together, do everything together, as if they are married and are not, and are perfectly fine with that. They're like, that's our lives. We're not married technically, but we basically are. Like, at this point, there's no need for us to have a wedding because, it's whatever. I'm just saying, Valentine's Day at least took the effort to kind of have some different perspectives on Valentine's Day. You know, you got the people who don't like Valentine's Day, the people who do like Valentine's Day, the couples that are involved in Valentine's Day, the couples that aren't, but, because they're new. Like, they have different perspectives on the holiday from different angles of, like, their level of importance that they place on Valentine's Day. This movie, it's like they don't... They have one version of how important Mother's Day is, and it's that moms are important and they need to be married to men so that they can be true mothers.
And I also liked how Valentine's Day interweaved each of the characters together versus this that just had pretty much everyone's story separate. There was a little bit of
it feels lazy,
but not much
when they do crossover, because literally, like, all the stories are very separated, and then we cut to a scene where Kristen is just friends with Kate Hudson's character. They just know each other, and you're just like, when did y'all meet? How? Because like, if you want to, the movie starts with them like talking. That's how you would do that. You would start with them like having a phone conversation, texting each other, like you did with Jennifer Aniston's character. The movie starts with Kate Hudson texting Jennifer Aniston's character, so you're like, oh, okay, they're friends, they know each other, calling each other. But it's like, okay, cool. There's no interaction with Kristen at all, and then she just pops up, and that's, I think, the only scene she has with them, and then she's never around them ever again for the rest of the movie.
I want to watch New Year's just because of this film. So I'm like, all right, you're right. Valentine's Day, they weirdly were able to connect everything properly. There was too many people. Still, I don't like it. But, like, they made it a connection, a proper connection. This movie, yeah, it just felt like, Oh, I know them. That's it. We hang out and talk in a park sometimes about life.
Well, it's more like
it.
this movie's like, I need these two characters to have this conversation, and I don't want to make a new character for her to talk to, so I'll just have them just be in the same scene together. But do they know each other? Don't talk to me.
From what I remember out of the movies, I enjoyed New Year's Eve the most. Well, I hadn't seen Mother's Day, and when I watched Valentine's Day this year, I didn't remember a lot of it, so I'm not sure if I actually watched it.
I've honestly forgotten most of that movie, and we watched it this year already. It's been erased from my databank.
Right. So I would want to watch New Year's Eve again to see how it, because I don't remember like really any of the storylines. I remember Seth Meyers. The only storyline I remember is Seth Meyers, I think, and his wife is like having a baby or something.
Well,
but that's
tune in.
That's about it.
New Year when it gets closer to New Year's Eve, when we do the New Year's Eve retro review.
In about 8 months.
It's way closer than that now. Yeah, no, it's just
7 months.
Valentine's Day would at least, there was like a setup and I could like follow how everybody was connected. I was like, okay, I can see how these people ended up together, everything like that. This had no real connection with the people other than like, we're friends. Like, why? And then also just felt very choppy, and they were like forcibly trying to, like with Jennifer Aniston and Julia Roberts' character, kind of
telling you
their conversation. And it
the
was
editing
like,
in this movie.
What's the real point of that? Yeah.
Especially because Jennifer Aniston, all of Jennifer Aniston's lines that are like written, it feels like they want her to be, you know who would have been perfect at nailing that role? Because you know what it is? It's that Jennifer Aniston she's very good at playing like the cool mom. Like when she does play moms, she always has it together. You know what I mean? Like you look at a movie like, I forget that Adam Sandler movie she did. Just Go With It. Yeah, she's great in that movie as a mom, but she has it together. This character, you know who should play this character? And I wonder if maybe she just wasn't famous enough or didn't have enough star power to do it. Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig would have nailed this role of the extremely awkward, it has nothing together mom.
I think she would have still been too young to do that.
At this, this is 2016.
Well, isn't that when Ghostbusters came out? Didn't the Ghostbusters?
That was 2018, right? Or was it 2016? I think that also was 2016. Actually, now that I think about it,
it was 2016.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So she was about this. She would have been around the right age.
Oh, then yeah. I felt like wouldn't she have like looked just like mildly? Yeah. No. All right. Now seeing her from like Ghostbusters, yeah, because this movie, it feels like an early 2000s movie. It doesn't feel like a 2000s. It feels like this is something that would come out in early 2000s, where you watch it and just like with the racist comments, you're like, I'm not.
Well, especially because
I'm not really okay with what's happening in this scene.
Well, even because like how the Indian mom reacts to Flo, where Flo is being actively just staunchly racist in front of her face. And granted, the Indian mom, because I forget her name right now, the character's name, but she's like she's also a little racist too, because she's like, yeah, you know, I had an issue with your daughter as well. I was like, how dare he bring a white girl in here? But then I saw her grandbaby, and I was like, he's so precious, he's so cute. And
so they gave his mom a chance, and they didn't give her mom a chance.
No, they give her a chance in as much as like her son still talks to her, but that's about it. But it's like, but even still, it's like she's trying to extend an olive branch, and Flo is still being super racist, and they try to play it off as like, oh, I don't get those references. It's like, no, like she would definitely be like, you know what, I tried, and that's how, and I could say that I tried.
It's fine.
And moving on, like we are not friends. And then the way she pops up in the movie too, because it's like she gets there in an Uber, and then they're just like, "Mom, how did you get here?" She's like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, because that's how the writers treat it. Because there's no way, even if she flew here and then took an Uber, A, there's no way she knows where y'all at, because y'all are just at a random park. But B, Vegas is a long flight to Atlanta. She would definitely be so tired, there's no way she'd have the energy. Like, I know, because just flying from Seattle to Atlanta is a tiring flight. This movie just, like, I think, you know what it is? It's like, say what you want about Valentine's Day as, like, a movie that feels like it's just a product to come out on Valentine's Day. But at least Valentine's Day has the nerve to, like, keep it simple. Like, The issues they are dealing with are very simple issues. The most complex it gets is there's a gay football player, which they don't even try and tackle that can of worms. They're like, look, he just says he's gay. That's as far as we're going to go with that. And the only other complexity they have with that is there's a husband cheating on his wife. That's it. That's as simple, that's as complex as it gets. This one is trying to tackle racism, homophobia, like the inner workings of a co-parenting situation, a dad dealing with the loss of his wife and being like the fact of becoming a single father. Because that doesn't just happen in a year. You're just like, and I'm over it.
I agree with that. There's so many other like simple, like lighthearted issues they could tackle. Like if they were younger, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, mom doesn't know I dropped out of college and I've been doing this. Okay, that's kind of understandable, and your mom's not checking up on your courses and stuff like that. That's an easy lie. It's not a good lie, but it's an easy lie. The gay one can even still kind of work if they don't deal with the homophobia of it. She's like, oh, I'm a little uncomfortable. Well, like, that's why we didn't tell you. But, like, in the end, like, I love you, kid. I'll work on it because I love you. And, like, that's a quick and easy, clear, like, path to take.
That's true. There's no line like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, like, I'm so uncomfortable because of the way I was raised. But, like, I love you more. So, like, I will work with it because I want you in my life. Very simple, very clean cut. There's a nice little line there that could end it. And like so many other things. They could have even done the co-parenting thing had they not, I think, had the marriage of the younger woman just yet. Be like, oh, he's already moved on and started seeing somebody. Nope, we're introduced right away to like, they got married. You didn't know this. The kids didn't know this. Nobody knew. All these surprise marriages really had to stop.
Well, right. Especially just because like
also, it takes a couple days to get a marriage license, so I don't know why people are getting married on a whim. That was not a legal marriage.
Well, also, it's just the fact of him being like, because it's just constant surprises where he's like, hey, like he just calls her up. Hey, what are the boys' passports? What? We're going to Paris in the summer. Okay, again, this is a conversation. This is not just we're going to Paris, click. like you're co-parenting, and the movie tries to make it seem so normal, like that's just a thing they do, and it's like if that is, that's a terrible co-parenting situation you have.
Because I feel like there could be a case for kidnapping if you don't give like enough warning, and the other parent doesn't approve. Like the other parent could call the police. I doubt it would have gotten to in their situation. I doubt it would have gotten to that, but. You got to talk with the other parent before you steal the kids for a week or two.
And mind you,
I mean, there's clearly custody arrangement going on, so you can't just whisk the kids away. You've clearly been to court to set up custody because you made a big fuss about it later on in the movie. So like, maybe,
and mind you, I feel like the audience like might be like. It's like, it's just Mother's Day. Y'all are adding a lot more thought into this movie than necessary. But here's the thing, okay? It's like, when we break it down, here's how it is, all right? It's not that the movie should have had all these details in here and it would have made it a better movie. But it's just the fact of, like, it would, like, having these details in here would have made the movie have so much more complexity that would have made the storylines more interesting. Like more involved than just like, because it wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to be the happy-go-lucky, hey man, we're just here for a good time and some laughs. Look at Jason Sudeikis fall off the roof and break his legs. Isn't that funny? And it's like, okay, but you can't do that, but then also have these situations that in reality would be way more complicated. Especially because it's like, it doesn't have to be. You could have honestly had his wife just die years earlier, like more years than just a year's time. And it's just, we just deal with the goofiness of, man, he's a single dad and he just can't get it right, but he's trying. Like that, and that be the conflict. Not my wife died in the line of duty a year ago and I'm so sad and I can't get it together. That's, you know what I mean? One's fun, one is way more complex. and they're trying to do both.
With that, like, the daughters, all of a sudden, like, nobody was really pushing him to start dating or moving on, not till the end, where the daughters are like, hey, go talk to her. She's stuck in a vending machine. Jennifer Aniston's character. It would have been nice, or I think it would have been a better thing to show, like, you're right, the wife died years before, and the daughters are like, hey, you need to think about, like, dating, moving on, maybe, like, finding somebody else. We've noticed you've been sad, and, you know, we're getting older. You know, you kind of need to be with somebody. You know? Kind of like the daughter's support throughout the film of being like, we want you to be happy, and we want you to be move on. Instead, it's just, like, this weird thing going on with his kids. And all of a sudden, they're like...
They give him a lot of shit.
Yeah. Like, they're giving him problems throughout the whole film. And then, like, all of a sudden, they're like, we're supportive of you, Dad. Go get that girl. It's like, the hell? Wasn't it just, like, 2 days ago you were, like, talking about your mom being dead for a year?
Well, especially
like, that was a real... Again, I don't know the timeline of this film, and it really bothers me that I don't.
Well, the problem I have with the daughters is that, A, they have no sympathy for their dad. Because the oldest daughter is like, Dad, I have to do all the cooking and the cleaning and taking care of this daughter, like taking care of my little sister. And you're meanwhile out here moping like your wife died or something. Get over it. And it's like, I am a
man up.
Right, you need to man up, Dad. It's just like, I am your father. How dare you talk to me?
At one point, he was like, "Don't talk to me like that. Why are you talking to me like that?"
Right, and then she just walks away. She just ignores him completely. And I'm just like,
I mean, I can kind of get it. Like, she's like, "Look, I picked up everything. How about, like, you step up because you're still the parent. I'm the kid." Like,
no, it's not that she's unreasonable to feel that way. It's just the fact of, again, this movie is terrible with its editing and how it uses its time. We do not see her do any of these things. Really? We see her cook one meal. One. And we see her kind of take care of her little sister. Kind of. In the sense that she, like, holds her hand and takes her to someplace or whatever. That's it. They act like she's out here putting her little sister to bed. Meanwhile, Dad, I need your help. No, I'm in bed. Shit. Like, that's how they make it feel, but that's not how it is. He's very present. He's like throughout the movie in their lives. So the message doesn't match with what you're showing us of this man's life.
This movie just was nonsense.
Yeah. do we want to get to final thoughts? I'll start with mine. So I have one more thing to say. With Jennifer Garner's character, because she played.
What do you mean with her character? She's not even in the damn movie. Like more than 2 minutes.
Cameo.
Yes. I wasn't gonna dissect her character. I was just gonna say, since she was also in Valentine's Day, do we think that this character is her same character who enlisted in the military and then died in combat after marrying Jason Sudeikis?
No. No, because you know why? Because Hector, what's his name? Dang it, I'm going to look it up because I want to get it right. Hector, is it Elizondo? He's not the same character, that's for sure.
I love that they just bring in the same actors and you're like, I know them from this. And it's like, well, this is a completely different character. Forget that. But this is the same style of movie. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Hector Elizondo. As Lance Wallace. And I'm glad they didn't give his character. I was fully prepared for him to have a whole storyline too. Although I will give you this though, Jack Whitehall's character, good jokes though. They're pretty decent. They weren't too bad. I was like, you know what?
That's why they hired him.
They made me
They're
laugh.
like, that's why they hired him. We need a stand-up comic. So, yeah, let's hire.
They needed somebody to actually tell jokes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, his jokes were actually pretty solid. Like, if I saw that in a comedy club, I'd be like, this guy's actually kind of funny. He's got some jokes. He's pretty decent.
I got to see him live at Paramount. He was good.
Yeah,
moves around so much.
But in my final thoughts, Yeah, this makes Valentine's Day look like Titanic compared to Mother's Day because
Wow.
I'm yearning for rewatching Valentine's Day. Yeah, it was just the writing, like I mentioned, the writing, the of the film, the geographic like nonsense. Yeah, it was all over the place. I appreciated seeing Lonnie Love. I did like, and Jason Sudeikis was good too. I think this is when he was just starting to, you know, kind of break out into movies and TV. I think.
Yeah, I think he hadn't hit his stride.
Because
He hadn't become the Jason
he had left
Sudeikis that he is.
SNL.
Yeah.
Right, because he had left SNL like maybe like a few years prior, and so he was starting to hit his stride. I also did like
he did SNL.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm like, it's like when he does the Humpty dance, like, or does the character thing. I was like, that's the best
what up
scene.
With that?
Yeah, that's the best scene of him in this movie, and I'm like, it's because he gets to have some personality. He gets to just have fun and be a fun character, because that's what Jason Sudeikis is good at. You hired this man, and he barely gets to do what he's good at in it the entire time.
Right. I did like the scene where the kid's on stage and he's the lion and he has the suit backwards. That was funny.
That was funny. Yeah, that was fun.
But that was about it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about Mother's Day. Jerome, what do you have to say about the film?
It's a shame when your movie's best scenes are when it ends and you get to see the bloopers.
I miss bloopers. I wish they did those more.
Remember when Pixar did bloopers for their animated movies?
Toy Story. I love the Toy Story bloopers. I always love them.
I think we talked about it last time when we were talking about anime movies. But I'm like, yeah, it's funny because it's like they don't need to do this. This is extra work to do these, to animate these, but they're great. They're fun. They're so funny.
I will always love how what's the cowboy's name?
Woody
would play pranks on Buzz.
Oh yeah,
that's what part of the bloopers.
Yeah, he puts the thing up. He's got the glasses drawn on his thing. He's like, okay,
he's like Woody, and then he's like walking past the aisle of all the other Buzz Lightyears, and there's Woody in one of the boxes going like this. The fact that it was like, yeah, Woody doing pranks on set was great.
But it's just, yeah, I give this movie an F. I'm sorry. This movie is bad. This movie, it's you know what it is? It's that it goes too far. Like Valentine's Day knew how to be like in the pocket, and that's why I think I gave it a D or a D equivalent. But it's just like, yeah, it's like it's not. No, the movie doesn't have substance, but it's a movie you could have on in the background. I would not put this on in the background. I'd just be like, this movie is like, why are we watching this? This is a waste.
I pretty much watched this in the background while I was like clipping my nails. I was like,
yeah, clearly I wasn't watching much of
buying
it
stuff on Amazon. Yeah,
I would feel angry on behalf of all mothers for them watching this movie. Okay. Because these are some of the worst moms. Britt Robertson aside, her crimes aren't as a mom. Her crimes are as a girlfriend. But everybody else, they're not good moms. Like Jennifer Aniston's like serviceable at best. Kate Hudson is just a mess. Or you know what? Actually, you know what it is? It's not that they're bad moms. They're just bad people. They're bad people who happen to be moms. I wish this movie was better. I do. Because I like all the actors and actresses in this movie. They're all great. And they've been in better projects, for sure. But this just feels like this is what happens when you just need a paycheck. You want to do a favor for a friend. But I hope they had a great time filming it. It seems like from the bloopers they did. They had a great time.
They look like they had fun.
Yeah, and you can't fault them for that because there have been a lot of projects I've done that have been trash, but we had a great time filming it. We had fun, and then you can't be mad at that. So that's the most I can say that hasn't already been said already about this film. Don't watch Mother's Day on next Mother's Day.
Don't do that to your mom.
Yeah, don't do that to her. Do like be a good son or daughter or a person of non-specific gender and take them to the Applebee's and get them whatever they want off the menu.
Or do other things, sure.
Or Chili's.
Or Chili's.
Chili's. Wow. I had Chili's like a couple months ago for the first time in like 15, maybe more years. Chili's. That's all I'm going to say. Chili's. I can't even describe it.
You're
Chili's
so passionate about it, the whole camera shaking.
Yeah, you're like moving. I haven't ever eaten at a Chili's or an Applebee's.
Next time
Chili's
I see
is
you,
good. Chili's
we're
is
eating
good.
at Chili's.
Applebee's though. I like me some Applebee's.
I know you do.
The riblets.
All right. Good Lord.
Alex, final thoughts on
About
Mother's
the
Day.
Applebee's or about Mother's? Oh, my Mother's Day.
Hey, whatever you want at this point. We know the movie was trash, so why don't you talk about Applebee's?
Making me hungry.
Feels like they would
Haven't
have
eaten.
like sticky tables, and I don't know how I feel about that. When I think about
They don't have
Applebee's,
sticky
I feel
tables, but what they
I
do
feel
have
like they would.
is delicious ass ribs and steak and chicken.
Going back to the movie, I think I have more opinions on Applebee's than I do about this movie.
Applebee's, please sponsor us so we can get free lodging
And Chili's.
food at Applebee's. Chili's too, if you want to include in there. You know, we will promote your products. We will tell everyone about the 2 for what is it? 2 for 20? The 2 for 20 deal at Applebee's.
That sounds like you go on a date in high school because you only have $20.
Listen, it makes for a good date experience or just a good one-on-one meeting experience. I don't know. Anyway, Applebee's. Go there. Eat it.
So, Mother's Day. Terrible movie. I'm just going to keep going. I don't know what it was honestly about. It had like these serious issues and tried to do it like a comedic way, but like it was like, what the fuck is going on? And
it's just funny you saying that because
honestly,
the movie's called Mother's Day. And you're like, I don't know what this movie was about.
It clearly wasn't about Mother's Day though, because they don't even really show Mother's Day. The New Year's movie was about New Year's Day. Valentine's Day, insane, but like happened on that singular day. Mother's Day didn't partake on actual Mother's Day. It has this weird ass timeline.
End of the movie.
Yeah, the last like 10 minutes were Mother's Day, so it really wasn't even about Mother's Day.
And also, Mother's Day is not a holiday where there's all this fanfare, you know? Like Mother's Day, Father's Day, like those are not the types of holidays, like a Martin Luther King Day. As much as we love Martin Luther King, it's not a holiday where you'll see people.
Yeah,
with
nobody does anything. Yeah,
right.
You just go home, maybe listen to an I Have a Dream
brunch with
speech,
your mom.
and that's it.
Right.
Is that what you do on Martin Luther King Day?
No, I do not. But you know, like I'm just saying, it's true. Mother's Day, it's like you take your mom out,
President's
and that's
Day.
if she wants to go out. Like if she doesn't, you just
have
like
a barbecue on President's
you just call and be like, "Hey, Mom, Happy Mother's Day. I love you. Okay, bye." Click. That's it.
It's just that. It's just like you spend time with your mom. A lot of the times, it's people who don't like their parents. They'll spend time with them for the few hours a day as like, I'm a good kid, and that's like it. That's Mother's Day and Father's Day, and yeah, this whole movie was like so much. And there's another movie kind of like it, but does it better. It's called, I think, Mothers and Daughters, where it talks about 4 moms trying to reconnect with their kids, being like, "Why did we fall apart?" Well, because you kind of screwed up my childhood, so like I don't really want to see you in my adulthood. I'm like, reasonable.
Funny enough, that is like that's actually another crazy thing too. It's like most of this is not like if none of these characters had kids, the movie would not change. Them being mothers does not really come up in this movie that much, except for Jennifer Aniston. She's the one. But
Yeah,
Kate
that's the
Hudson's
issue with
Kate Hudson's whole issue is about her and her relationship, not about her being a mom. And her mom,
like once or twice during the film, and that's it.
The only purpose Kate Hudson's kid served her parents to throw racial slurs at the kid.
Yeah. Which
okay,
at first
family.
I thought it was a black man. Then she's like Indian. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're not even all that. Like, they're not that brown. He's definitely mixed.
They're not.
I'm just saying. Okay,
she acting like the kids coming out looking like burnt toast, just midnight black. You can't see them in the nighttime. Like not that it matters. We about racist, to get, but I'm just saying.
Jerome keeps going. We about to get canceled. All right, social.
All brown folk know the deal. Okay, like we be making jokes about who's the darkest all the time. All right, we know the deal.
There are.
I am one.
I know you know the deal too, Alex. You're not included in that statement.
There are Indian people coming just like black people. Indian people come in all shades and size, and all shades and sizes. They do
all
come in
those shades and sizes.
Oh my, both of you.
But Indian people do come in all shades, is what I'm trying to say. I know that.
No, I'm just saying the movie sets it up in a way where you're expecting this child to be like night and day, and it's like they're a little brown skin, like, you know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay.
They're supposed to be in Atlanta. Isn't it like sunny there a lot? The kid would have a tan anyway. in Atlanta. Kid's just got sun.
I'm done. We gotta
listen. We can do. Listen, we are a podcast of all minority peoples. We can talk about this stuff and make these jokes because we know the life. We know what it is.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm a brown folk.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. The first brown folk to die. All right. That's the new name of the podcast. The first brown folk to die.
So you can find me. One,
socials.
At Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok. And you can also find me on the podcast TikTok as the first ones to die, where I show little clips such as what probably happened a moment ago and little movies that we are or going to review, as well as some of my own scenes where I just kind of get high and comment on movies or shows that I'm watching I'm a little confused about. I said it on TikTok earlier, and I want to say it on here too. I appreciate everybody in my life who's answering my questions when I'm either stoned or just in general. Like, a copious amount of people will do it, and I appreciate that, and I love it, because I don't have to Google things, and I hate Googling things. So it's very nice, and I appreciate you all who answer my questions. Jonathan, let's go with you, I guess.
You could find me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can follow us at The First Ones to Die on all of your social media platforms. You can email us thefirstones2die@gmail.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Give us some feedback as well. We'd also love feedback on your favorite podcast listening form. We'd love to get a rating, a review. Give us 5 stars, please. That would help us tremendously. Jerome, where can people find you?
You can find me at NotJeromeRet on Instagram, as well as at RoboZooMedia and at Jerome_the_show to see other stuff I'm working on. And if you want to get a whole bunch of extra content that you can't get on any of the audio streaming platforms for The First Ones to Die, check out the YouTube channel and go on over there, subscribe, and so you can be in the know of all the extra content that we do, stuff like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming content, vlogs, all types of stuff. So once again, subscribe to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die. And, you know, be on the lookout for when we have other new stuff dropping. In fact, we got mini reviews coming soon, so be on the lookout for those.
Yes.
Tune in next week, speaking of brown folk, to check out Hairspray, the musical, starring John Travolta, Zac Efron, and a fairly sane Amanda Bynes.
I like how you said, speaking of brown folk, and you have not mentioned one.
It's true. Queen Latifah's in there.
There you go.
I mean, and Amanda Bynes ends up with a black dude in that movie, so...
You're spoiling it stuff.
Spoiling what? A movie from God knows how many years at this point?
I think it's from 2016, too.
It's from 2007, I think.
This is a long time.
That is a long time. I thought it was... Oh, my God. Time is non-existent.
Anyway, tune in next week for that retro review. It's going to be a fun time, I'm sure. We're going to have a lot to say. And have a good night, good evening, or good morning, whenever you're watching or listening to this. And we'll catch you next time.